Hey everybody, we are back!
Yay!
The Goofy Guy is back! Woohoo!
Woo!
I am Jim Spangler, the Goofy Guy, your host. But if you're listening to this, you already know that. And I have the always lovely and just one of my dearest friends, Mandi with me.
Hi.
How you doing, Mandi?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
It seems so weird to ask you that because we've just been talking for like 25 minutes.
For like a half hour.
I'm like,
but I still am. I'm still doing great.
yeah, still doing good.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good. So I am so excited to be back. I have no idea what episode this is. It's like 141 or one something. We'll figure that out as we go. Not worry about it today. I will say that it is Wednesday, October 26th.
23rd.
And
what?
Yeah, but we're not going to release this.
When you post it. I'm sorry, it's not Wednesday either. I picked up on it. I got there. I was a little late, but I got there.
You can tell we haven't recorded for a while, folks.
Oh my God.
You can tell we haven't done this for a while. It's all good.
I was like, no, it's not, Jim. What are you talking about?
You're crazy.
When we post it, it will be. Yeah. Okay.
It will be the 26th when we post it. So you just gave away the secret. The secret sauce.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't care.
Oh my
God. That's all right. That's all right. I didn't even warn you that I was going to do that.
Well, no, it was just the look on your face when I said it was so funny. You were like, Mandi. Let's put two and two together, please.
Yeah. Work on this. Did you see me do the calculations in my head, honey? I was trying to figure out what day it was going to be.
As soon as I corrected you, I was like, no, that's not. I'm there. We're there. We've arrived. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. So anyway, we are really, as you can tell, we are thrilled to be back. And we've made some updates to the podcast / YouTube, which we're going to talk about during this episode to kind of catch everybody up. We're also going to talk about some news items that we just think are fun, that we're like, fun things. But let's get down to what we want to do with this podcast now. I want to go back to what I originally wanted this podcast to be. And what I originally, and my blog too, it actually started with a blog. And what I initially started out to do was to create something that helped people with their planning and their knowledge of Disney. Not so much news, because you can get news anywhere. There are podcasts that are much better at that than me. I'm in Chicago and they're actually there. So I thought I want to help people be able to plan and know how to plan for this gargantuan trip they're getting ready to take, because you and I were talking earlier, and you can't go. You can't just make a reservation and go anymore.
Yeah, it's not a feasible thing to think that you're just going to like get on the website and boop, boop, boop. Okay, my trip is ready to go.
Yeah, even on the website, it's crazy because you're like, I'm going to go these days. And then they're like, well, let's see, what parks do you want to go to? What?
All of them? What?
Yeah. Can I go to everyone? So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to get all that out there because I think it's really important, especially now, because it's as prices increase and as they are using more technology and they are making it harder, honestly.
Every day I feel like it gets more and more complicated. And again, like as somebody who is regularly staying up to date and regularly making sure that I know what to expect and who knows how to book trips and has booked multiple trips before, even I feel like every time I log on or try to do something new, I'm like, wait, this is different than it was before. Like I'm going in December and I'm going to need to practice with Disney Genie Plus. Like
it is the truth. It is the truth. And it's just so sad. I just, it kind of has taken some of the spontaneity out of it. It's not that you can't have a good time. You can still have a wonderful time. Don't worry. And you can still be spontaneous.
Sure.
That's not it at all. But there's a lot of planning that goes into it. So that's what we're going to talk about with this podcast now. We're going to come out probably about every other week. That's the plan, to do this every other week. And every week we're going to have a topic to help with planning. We're going to have a subject like one week we'll talk about Genie Plus. One
Mhm.
week we'll talk about how do you make dining reservations. One
Mhm.
week we'll talk about how do you make park reservations. And
Mhm.
yeah, so there's so much to know.
Yes.
We're never going to run out of topics, trust
No.
me. We just aren't.
Mhm.
I mean, my goodness, you can just look at Epcot alone and never run out of
Oh
topics.
my gosh.
With all the changes that they're making and have made and are going to be making and all the World Showcase items. So
Mhm.
we have a lot of knowledge to
Mhm.
impart. We're gonna have guests on.
Mhm.
We were just talking about that and we were talking about fangirling for
Yes.
some of them as I reach out and try to get some people on
Yes. Oh my
on this
gosh.
podcast. I
Yes.
know.
Come join us. We're fun. Yay.
I know. So and the other thing is as always, uh it's an honest but not so serious look, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna tell you our honest opinions for the most part.
Sure.
We were just talking about the fact that, there may be a Patreon, thing out there that, allows you to hear our real thoughts
Mhm.
that we talk about before we record the podcast.
Yeah.
If you're
Our
interested
25-minute spiel before. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. If you're interested in that, let us know, and I can totally get that set up very quickly, and it won't be expensive. We're not gonna charge you an arm and a
Mhm.
leg,
Mhm.
for it. We'll charge enough to help support the podcast, and that'll really be
Yeah.
it. Because I don't want people to be like, "I'm spending $20 a month on Jim's podcast." I don't spend $20 a month on anybody's podcast.
Oh, we've got you and everybody's got more than enough monthly subscriptions to worry about. So
That's exactly right. Every time I look at my bank statement, I'm like, "What? What is that?" 4.99. What?
yep.
What did I
Don't know
do
what that
there?
is. Am I still gonna pay it? Yeah, because I don't know what I'm
Tell you.
risking if I don't.
That's right. That's
Suddenly,
exactly
I
right.
don't have Hulu anymore, and I don't remember when that happened. So,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
yep.
So that's what this is about, and we're gonna have a lot of fun, and, hopefully be helpful. That's really what we wanna do. We really wanna
Mhm.
be helpful, and, moving forward. But today we don't have a topic today because we just wanted to reintroduce the podcast. We
Yes.
wanted to get our energy back out there, start,
Mhm.
getting people to realize that we're back out there.
Mhm.
And so today we're going to talk about some very recent events that are happening at Disney and some not so recent events that should have already happened that have not happened
Yeah.
yet. And just kind of have fun and laugh and just kind of
Yeah.
catch you up, let you
Catch
all up to
up.
date.
Absolutely. Get back
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's just dig in. Let's
Yeah.
just go right into it.
Let's go.
So the first thing I want to talk about is that Phantasmic is coming back.
Uh, I have been waiting so long for this announcement. I love Phantasmic so much. It is
I
one
know
of
you do.
I know. It's like one of my favorite shows. And I think it's just because I remember I was young enough so that I was little, but like old enough where I really I understood
Of
how cool it
course.
was. And
Yeah.
so that, nostalgia for me, I just love it. And there's going to be a lot of changes to it too, which is pretty exciting.
There are going to be changes, a lot actually.
Yeah.
I was just reading about it and
Mhm.
I mean Elsa is going to be a part of it and
Yeah, she needs to play
Moana
herself.
and
Yeah.
they're really gonna I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. I'll be honest with you, Phantasmic has never been my favorite.
I know.
Mainly, and this is just it's only my opinion,
Yeah.
because most of the world loves
Yeah.
Phantasmic, is that I think they use the water screens too much. That's
And
my
maybe they'll
only
adjust
complaint.
that. I honestly now, like, if I were to see it now as it was, whatever, when it first came out, I feel like now I would feel that way. But at the time, it was
Yeah,
such new technology. It was such like a
of course.
new innovative thing. They were really heavily leaning on it. So
Yeah,
I have a feeling that they're going to be making some changes there too, which
and I agree, and the first couple of times I saw it, I was like, "That is so cool."
Mhm,
But then I was like, "Okay, but it's mainly water screens."
mhm.
So, and it's not that water screens are bad. That's not it at all. I think they're
Right.
very cool. When used effectively, they're very cool.
Oh
I
yeah.
just got to a point where I was like, "Okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and if you're sitting like in the third row, you're just by the
Bring the
time you leave,
poncho."
you're just absolutely drenched. Like it's like, okay,
So,
whoo, I need a break from the water. Yeah, I get that.
yeah. So, Phantasmic coming back. It is returning on November 3rd. They're actually doing a cast member preview on November 2nd,
Mhm.
and then it's opening to the public on November 3rd. And I think we need to let people know what the best way to get seats for
Mhm.
this is, instead
Yeah,
of having to wait in that huge long line for hours, because nobody
yeah,
wants to do that.
right.
Nobody wants to do that. First of all, don't try to go on the 3rd.
Yeah, no way.
Don't do it.
They do have 2 shows. They do have 2 shows for the first I think it's like the first 2 weeks. They'll
Yeah,
have an 8 PM show and a 9 PM
yeah,
show, but after
yeah.
that, it's just the one show and you got one shot to go. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And they and I think on busier times, they'll have 2 shows. I
sure.
think they will,
Yeah, yeah.
do that, but right now, they're gonna go away. But I think the best way to get this is to do a dining package,
Mhm.
honestly,
I
because
just
then
booked
you're
it literally today.
yeah, yeah, because then you're assured of, getting a decent seat, and you
Yeah,
don't have to wait in that 2-hour line.
right.
And it just makes sense, and you'll get a good meal,
Yeah.
especially if you book the Brown Derby,
Mhm.
it's a little pricey, but the food is really good.
I literally just booked it. Well, no, not that. I didn't book that one, but I looked at the prices because it's not available. You can't book until October 26th.
Right,
That's when
right,
the dining package goes live. So, but
right.
the Brown Derby is $73 per person, which ultimately, if you're going to the Brown Derby, you're probably going to end up spending that much anyway. So
That's
you might as
exactly right,
well make the reservation, have it set, and have those seats guaranteed to you so you don't have to
right.
go and stand in that line. Or you
I
could do it
agree.
the way that I've done in the past, which is the riskiest way. And this actually happened, me and Zach. We went and we walked up to Brown Derby, did not have reservations. We said, "Do you have 2 reservations or reservations for 2?" And they were like, "Let me look." Yes, we do. We went and we ate. And we said, "We'd like to see Phantasmic." We ate at like 7:30 p.m. And
What?
yep, we ate. And then he was like, "Okay, you want to see Phantasmic?" We're like, "Yep." They rushed us through our meal. We had a great meal. I guess it was because I think the show was at 8. So it was probably at 6:30. But he
Yeah.
goes, "Okay, here you go. You better go now because the show's about to start." And we were like, "Okay." And we booked it to Phantasmic, ran in and sat right down. Like,
Okay, I am here to say, don't try that.
don't try
Don't try it, because it's
it.
not gonna happen.
It was so but you know what? It was the middle of the summer and we still
Yeah.
managed it. Like
Yeah.
it was one of those just like freak things where we purposely left that evening open because we were like, we don't know what we want to do. Let's just like feel it out. And we ended up going to Brown Derby and going and catching Phantasmic with no plan.
I
Don't do
love
that.
that so much. I
It
love that
has
so much. That's called Disney magic. That's when you get a Disney magic experience,
Oh, it was
honestly.
awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
we didn't have to wait and we just kind of like and we had that mindset of like, if we don't get to see it, we don't get to see it, right? But like,
Yeah.
let's try anyway, and we just happened to do that, and so it
What have we got to lose, right?
right.
What do we have to lose? And the thing is that, Disney magic, those little things of Disney magic happen all over the place.
Mhm.
The way you get them is that you are a nice human being.
Be kind. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. When we went up to that concierge, you know what I'm talking about. When we went
Host.
up to the
Yeah.
host and he was like, we were like, "I totally understand if there's nothing, like, this is a no pressure situation, like, if you happen to have anything," and he was like, "Let me see what I can do." Like, you just have to be very
Spot on.
open.
Spot on. That's exactly what it's about, and it's
Mhm.
about being open and kind and
Mhm.
understanding that
Yep.
those cast members are doing the absolute best that they can
Oh,
with what
yeah.
they've got,
Yeah. Yeah, and so you
and
might be lucky. But also know that
I
if you're not, it's not their fault.
no, it's not their fault, and so you go into it knowing that. You
Yes.
don't go into it with the entitlement of, "You have to give me a seat,"
Right.
right? That's when they're gonna be like, no, I don't."
No?
Oh, and if you try again tomorrow, there's nothing tomorrow either.
No.
And I would be that way too. I'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Forget it. I'm not helping you.
Their jobs
No
are already
way."
hard enough. Like,
Yeah,
that
that's
really
exactly right.
yeah.
Anybody that's ever dealt with people out in the world understands
Yeah.
that that is just not happening.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so get your seats through a dining package. You can start
Mhm.
booking them on October 26th of 2022. I'm saying that
Mhm.
date so that if people are listening to this in 2025, they're not like, "We
I
can go
guess.
now."
I can't go.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go now. What are you talking about?
Right.
Um, so and who knows? with Bob Chapek in charge in 2025, there may not be Fantasmic anymore.
Who knows?
Who knows?
You might have to pay $50 for a ticket to see Fantasmic. You
That's
just never
exactly right. You just never know with Bob.
it might be a
Uh,
totally different world,
yeah,
so,
it's the bad Bob.
yeah,
Wait, oh, did I say that out loud? I
maybe.
did. Oh,
Say what
no.
out loud?
Okay.
What?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's so fantastic. We're very excited about that. Everybody is very excited about that. The whole Disney community is buzzing about it.
Can't
Because
wait.
of course they said it was going to open in July and it didn't, and then they were mum. They didn't say
Yeah,
anything until just last
yeah,
week. So anyway, um, next topic, and I'm gonna append a topic in between here because they kind of go together.
perfect.
Um, a harmonious
Yep.
barge
Yep.
caught fire the other night. Caught fire the other night. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, just go look up Harmonious Epcot, and you'll see the teleportation circle
Mhm,
in the middle of the lagoon, and
mhm.
you'll see the huge
Stargate.
tacos. You'll see the huge tacos,
Mhm.
4 of them. Huge.
Massive.
Huge, by the way.
You can
Massive.
never really get a true idea of how big they actually are until you actually see them in person, but they
It's
are
true.
absolutely gargantuan.
They're massive. They're massive.
Mhm.
And as you can tell by our tone, what we think of them.
Yeah,
Um,
they're special.
I think, Mandy, this was sabotage,
Honestly,
honestly.
it's the ghost I'm telling you, it's the ghost of Illuminations coming back for revenge.
It
"Let's
is,
gather around
totally.
the fire." Yes, and we're
Yes,
going up in flames.
totally. It totally is, and because the cast members hate this show.
Yeah,
They hate it. They're
it's
like they're like, "We have to explain to guests what these huge, massive things are in this lagoon."
yep. That
And
completely cuts the skyline and,
yeah, it
like
completely ruins the view, the
yeah.
beautiful view when you're standing at the entrance to World Showcase and
Mhm.
looking at all the countries laid out. That's
It's
gorgeous. It's
gorgeous. I don't know
beautiful.
why they thought that it would be well, and I think that, we've talked about this before, but it's like I think they just had a very different idea of what would it like the capabilities of that fountain feature would be.
Which they've
So,
never gotten to work,
they've never gotten it
ever.
right, ever.
Never gotten it to work, ever. And it's obvious they just quit trying.
They stopped, exactly. They
Yeah,
were like, "Let's just project some, like, literally, like, some ads
that's
on these
exactly right.
like, big old tacos, and we'll pretend
Yeah.
everything's fine," and it's really unfortunate, but we
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. And I will say, so I have seen Harmonious,
Mhm,
um, a couple of times now. Uh, I went in with a very bad attitude. I will be honest with you,
mhm.
and you know this because in past podcasts we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Um, it is not a terrible show.
No, I
It is
mean
not. There are some beautiful moments in
mhm,
that show. My complaint is it's a one-trick pony.
yeah, yeah, just does the same thing over and over.
You've seen the first 5 minutes of the show, you've seen the show,
Yeah, yeah, and
but there's some
I
great music in it and
they do a great job with the music, and I think that 'cause they're well, which is, what kind of looping into the next topic, it's like
yeah,
there need to be things that are changed, and I think they know
yeah,
that.
yeah,
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 they've
yeah.
gotten the feedback, they've heard the message, like, things need to be changed, so
I would not want to have to work in that customer service department
oh
with
god.
people that come and see that and are like, "What is this?"
And you know what? It's really the diehard people that are really, like, picking it apart and trying but at the same time, it's like those are the people that you should be caring about the most, are the people that have invested so much time and energy into this,
Yeah,
like, this product, right? Like,
yeah,
I come
yeah.
to see this beautiful show, and, like, you've taken out this, fixture, which was illuminations and reflections and all that, like, and you've replaced it with something and made a huge change to the park.
A beloved show.
Oh my gosh, like,
A beloved
I love
show.
it.
Just I mean, I never heard anybody say anything bad about that show,
Unless
ever.
they had no context to it, and
That's right.
like, I showed it to Steve after Harmonious. Like, he saw Harmonious, and, like, we watched, like, a recording of it, and he's like, "Okay, cool," and I was like, "Well, let me show you Illuminations," which was the show before, and he was like, "Why was, like, half the show just, like, the globe turning around in the water?"
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like,
and I have to say,
you don't get it. Like, you don't
yeah,
like, you need to
but
have
but let's be honest, the globe took a really long time.
oh, it Yes.
And they
Oh,
kept shortening it.
yes.
The globe piece kept getting
It
smaller.
literally just for 20 minutes
Yeah, was just the
unfolding into
globe.
it.
Yeah, and the ending was great with the globe, right? When it
Yes.
unfolded and they're shooting fireworks, and
Yes,
it was
yes, yes,
awesome.
yes.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
I
overall
love
though,
it. I love that, and it made me cry every time I saw it.
same.
The ending of that was so
Mhm.
amazingly done.
Mhm.
Just visually matching what was happening musically
Mhm.
to the emotion that they were trying to pull from you. It was just brilliant. So
Yeah.
then they came out with Harmonious,
Mhm.
which was bad. It is so here's the thing. This is what we're getting to. Harmonious is going away.
Yep, bye.
Bye-bye. It hasn't even it hasn't been
How
out for
long has
any
it
time
been
at all.
around? When did it premiere? I don't even remember. Like
Oh, I don't know. Well,
a
I'd
little
have to Google it.
a
Let me
little
Google
over
it
a
here.
year ago, right? Because it was
Yeah.
shortly
Yeah.
before it was no, it was I don't even think it's been a year because the 50th
It is
anniversary started
crazy.
in October.
Yeah.
So, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, wild.
When did Harmonious at Disney,
I think it was like September or October of last year is when it premiered.
Harmonious, Epcot. On September 11th, no,
Yeah.
that's not it. Sorry. Give me a I know all that. I don't care about any of that. I just wanna know. I Wikipedia, what's going on here?
Well, because I was there in August of last year and it still hadn't premiered,
Yeah.
and then it was for the 50th
Oh,
anniversary.
oh, here we go. Here we go. Opening date, October 1st, 2021.
Yeah, so it's barely been a year.
Yeah, barely been a year. And they spent a fortune
Oh, dear Lord,
on
how much
this.
money they spent on that.
Oh my god.
I can't even fathom it. And you know what? But I gotta say, knowing that information, they could have doubled down and
Yeah,
just been like, you know what, this is an investment, and you know what, people just get used to it and they'll suck it up and it'll be fine. But they did listen to the feedback and they are going to change it, which is
yeah.
good. I hope they change it for the better, and I hope that they don't make it
Well,
like
first they're bringing back that kite show for the time being.
I
So when it closes, they're bringing back the show that was there briefly
yeah.
before, which is
Oh
fine.
wait. Oh, not the okay. So the one with like Audra, like the wait, which
The one that they were, like, pulling the kites all over the
the
place
one in Animal
on the
Kingdom?
lagoon. No, 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 no. No, it was Epcot. Before Harmonious, they had a show in between Illuminations and Harmonious,
Right.
and part of it was that they were pulling kites
I
as
never
part of
saw that
the
one.
thing.
That was one, yeah, that
Yeah,
had
it's
like Audra
beautiful.
McDonald
It
in
was
it, and
Yeah, it
like
was actually beautiful.
yeah,
It was actually pretty well done.
yeah,
It wasn't Illuminations, but it wasn't bad.
yeah. So they're bringing
Um,
that one back
they're
then.
bringing that back
Okay.
shortly for a short stint until they
Yeah,
can figure out what they're
it's to
gonna do.
fill in the gaps. But I mean,
My opinion is they should keep the music. Keep the music. Music's
100%. I
great.
love the fact that they use the different languages of the different countries and that and
Exactly.
finishing it
It
with
was
someday.
it was
Like,
wonderful. And then and then just bring it back to the kind of aesthetic that it was,
yeah,
right?
the
It
like
doesn't have to be Illuminations. It doesn't have to be
no,
that.
but some of those animations, like the Jungle Book one and like the Brave one, like I think they just missed the mark. Like
I
I
think they
really
did
do.
too.
I just
Yeah.
think it was like vaguely creepy, like some like the like monkey puppet and the
Yeah, it's
the-
true.
like
Yeah.
it just missed the mark. Like I could see what they were going for, and I was like, okay, they're
Yeah.
trying to make this like a very different kind of like artistic take on these like songs and these like but it's like like that idea of like the uncanny valley where you're like this is creepy and I don't know why it's creepy.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah,
know
it's true.
why, but it gave me that vibe.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. So it is going away. It's barely been there for a year.
Yeah.
Um, when I read that, I literally just laughed out
Oh, I
loud. I
cracked up.
was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for." First of all, I feel so bad for all those Imagineers that spent so much time trying to
Oh
make
my
that thing
gosh.
work.
Like
Oh,
I bet they had the hardest
oh,
time like and like the expectation was just like here like
oh, yeah. It almost wouldn't. I think that's why they put a show in between Illuminations and Harmonious because they knew that nothing, the love
Oh,
for Illuminations, there was just nothing that was gonna be able to
no.
match
They
that.
needed like a buffer in
Yeah, they
between.
needed a buffer, exactly, and so that worked fine.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, everything that I've heard is that part of the reason that Epcot is not getting everything that they wanted is not necessarily because of COVID, but
Hmm.
it's because this ran so far over budget and ate so much of that capital expenditure
I would not be
that they
surprised by
had
that.
that they had to pare down. They
Yep.
just had to.
Yeah.
So,
When you take
uh,
on a project like that, that's never been done before, I mean, like, props to artistic
absolutely.
risk that you took because it's never been no there's never been a show like that before. So
That's
you
right.
know that you're going to absorb some, like, losses, like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be there are gonna be unexpected costs, but I don't think anybody could have anticipated just how huge of a loss it would be.
yeah, and how hard it was to put together.
Like, just but, like, just the size of it, right, by
Yep.
itself, I mean, and you saw it last night, or was it last night when the thing caught on fire? Like,
Yeah, yeah, 2 nights ago. 2
2
nights ago.
nights ago. Like, imagine how many other issues that have gone on behind the scenes that weren't so visible
That's right.
have
That's
happened.
right. It's true. Well, all you have to do is watch that centerpiece and everything that it
Mhm.
does to realize the complication of
Yep.
this show.
Oh.
It is insanely complicated, which makes it sometimes really cool.
Oh, my brother's obsessed with it. My
Yeah,
brother absolutely adores
yeah,
the show because he sees everything from, like, that lens, right?
of
Through that,
course.
like, how it works kind of nitty-gritty lens.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
looking
of
at it, you're
course.
stepping back from an artistic viewpoint, it's a very different way to view it, but he sees it, he
Yeah.
went and saw it, and he was like, "I was blown away. I've never seen anything like that."
Oh, I remember. I
Yeah,
remember because I said to you, "What?"
yeah. Well, he just saw it live for the first time, like, last week, 2 weeks ago, and he was
Yeah,
like, he even said he texted me from the park, and he was like, "I cannot believe how huge these things are, because you really do not you can't tell from
nope,
images. You have to
nope,
be
you
there and
can't.
see it, and as soon as you see it, it just your jaw drops. Because
Yeah, I've told this story before. When my best friend got married, they did it at Disney, and they did it at the Canadian Pavilion. Really lovely. The outdoor venue there is really lovely. Not a lot of people, but it's just beautiful. And I asked the person that was in charge of her wedding. I was like, "So, what are the cast members saying about this?" Because it hadn't started yet. It
right,
hadn't premiered yet.
right, I remember.
It was
Yeah,
just these big things in the thing.
right.
She goes, "I don't want to be the person that has to tell the bride who spent so much money why that big thing is going to be in the back of all of her wedding pictures."
Ugh, can't even
Mm,
imagine. I can't
yeah,
even imagine, like,
yeah,
especially booking it before all of that, like, even
yeah.
knowing that that was going to be a thing, at least now it's like, that that expectation is gonna be there, but if
That's
she had
right.
booked it, like, whatever, a year more in advance, and then all of a sudden they put up this big
They put up
structure,
those things.
and you're like,
Right.
"That's not what I paid for." That
Can you imagine? I
like,
can't even imagine.
oh, I would have been livid,
Uh,
livid. How
she
much
was like, "I'm
money?
just glad I don't have to explain the person that's at the Japan pavilion why that big circle is in every picture of their wedding."
Oh god.
So, and the other problem I have with Harmonious, and then we'll leave this topic because
Yeah.
literally I could talk about this
Oh, we've
for
unpacked it so many times
hours.
before,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we have, totally. There are only a few good places to watch it in the lagoon, because if you don't get a head straight on vision of that
Stargate?
circle. Yeah, Stargate, exactly. Um, that's exactly what it is. That Stargate, you miss half the show,
Yeah.
which is really sad.
Yeah, it's why and
So
why would you do this?
they just didn't take that into consideration. They just
How?
didn't think about it. They thought that the side things, that the big tacos would make up for that,
Mm,
and they don't.
they just don't.
No, they
Anyway,
don't. Okay, so
anyway.
moving on from Harmonious, let us know
Mhm.
what you think about Harmonious. If you love it, great.
Yeah,
More power to you. I
I'm
know a lot of
excited to
people that
see it.
do. Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Alex loves it.
yeah,
So I get it. I get it.
yeah,
Just not for me.
yeah,
So, the next thing I want to talk about is that I think people need to be, first of all, we're going to have a whole episode about Genie Plus.
mm.
And that's going to be one of the first things that we do. I'm just telling Mandy that for the first time. That's going
Sounds
to be one of
great.
the One of the first things that we're gonna do, because it's so complicated,
Yeah.
and they just made it more complicated by increasing the prices, and it's not like they increased the prices so that every day will be the same price.
No, it's surge
Um,
pricing. It's like an
it's
Uber for
surge
rides.
pricing. That's right. It's surge pricing, and I know why they're doing it. One is to make more money because they're just nickel and diming everybody to death right now.
Mhm.
But the other reason is, too many people are buying it.
Yeah.
Too many people are using it, and so it's not doing what it was meant to do.
Right, it's not making cutting down on ride times because
That's right.
it's just too easily accessible, because God forbid you make rides easily accessible
Without people
but
having to pay for it.
without me having to pay for it, but you know what? Like, at this point,
It is what it
it is
is.
what
You
it
have
is.
to if you're gonna go, you just have to know that that is an expense.
Yep.
I listen to Len Testa, I listen to Disney Dish all the time. It's one of my
Mhm.
favorite, and Len is so smart, and Jim Hill is so smart. Len got an email from a guest asking if they had done their math correctly for Genie Plus, and they had, like, a family of 9, I think, going, or
Oh
7 or
my
something like
gosh.
that. It was gonna cost them $1,700
Just for Genie Plus?
just for Genie Plus. Can you imagine?
It's like a
Len was like, "Their math was
multi-million.
spot on, they were only $5 off." Math was spot on.
I mean, that's literally like just buying another park day. Like,
It's more than that.
you're right.
So yeah, it's more than that. So, uh, but we're gonna talk about the pluses and minuses of Genie Plus and how to get around it, because honestly, you don't need it every day.
Yeah.
You just don't. And so we're going to talk about that, but they have done surge pricing. And it's not quite like Uber, like it's just the day, right? They're like, today it costs $22 to use Genie Plus, and
Right,
tomorrow
right,
it may cost you 15.
right.
Um, so that's what they've done. So just be aware of that if you're planning a vacation and you've already figured that pricing all out, it's going to
Mhm.
change on you. So, and
Yeah.
since you can't buy Genie Plus until the day that you are going to use it,
Mhm.
it you just need to be aware that that
Yeah.
may mess up your
Just
budget.
and you gotta budget for it. You just gotta expect, because I think isn't there a cat it's like $25 is like the most or
Yes,
something?
I
Yeah,
think it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
it's like
and you're gonna see $25, and let's be honest, you're only gonna see $25 one week.
right,
It's that week between Christmas and New Year's. That's the only time you're ever gonna see $25.
right.
But if you see $20, that's still a shock.
You gotta just plan for it and know that it's a
Yeah.
possibility if you really, like, need to get on those rides, and it's one of those things
Yeah.
where you have to decide, like, what's worth it, right? Is it worth it? Would you do you care that you're gonna be spending that time waiting in lines or not?
Yeah. So we're gonna talk all about that because there are so many things to take into consideration when you start talking about Genie Plus,
Right.
and the expense of that, and what I and I know Mandy consider alternatives, that Disney could do. We'll probably also
Mhm.
address that also,
Yeah.
but we're gonna try to make it very helpful. We're gonna try to keep our opinions as little as we can.
Mhm.
It's going to be hard because we both have very strong opinions about this one. But
Us?
just so you
Have
know,
strong opinions? What?
yeah, we didn't just spend 15 minutes on Harmonious. Let's go. What are we talking about? Um, so just know there is new pricing for that. Another thing that's happening that's exciting. Tron is finally
Oh my
opening up
gosh.
in the spring of 2023. They didn't even give us a date. They said the spring of 2023.
And it'll change.
So, and the reason that we're laughing, if you don't know, is they've been building this thing for 5 years. 5 years. Took
Wild.
them 5 years. Now, granted, there was a pandemic in the middle of that, and so there were a few months where they couldn't build. I get it. I totally get it, but not 5 years.
Not 5
Especially
years worth.
since there's already this ride in Shanghai.
It's a cut and paste.
It's
Like,
a cut and paste. It's literally a duplicate.
yes. Like, they're not working out new problems. They've already worked them out before.
No.
And
No, they're not working out new problems.
I'm sure that it's like, there's a lot of issues with the supply chain and there's a lot of issues with, and I'm sure there's more that goes into it than just, everything's slow. But
Right. But how come Universal Studios can build a whole park in less than 5 years,
like Epic
and they can't
Universe.
get Epic Universe, and they can't get Tron
Come on.
done in the 5 years? I mean, I feel like we've been watching this construction Forever.
Same. Every it's and
Oh
it
my
just
god.
and it's like crawling. Like the you
Oh, it's so painful.
it literally and like you'll go on the people mover and you'll see it and you'll be like, no changes
Are they
have been
doing anything?
it
Are they
looks
doing
the
anything? What is
same that
going
it
on?
looked when I was here 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the good news is, so they had to shut down the Disney train, which is a beloved thing
Yeah.
at the Magic Kingdom. But I heard, I heard the whistles of the train
Ugh,
recently recorded,
yay.
which means they're testing it. Oh,
That's so
thank
exciting.
God. It's
Thank
so
God.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's so exciting to get that back. And because I love the train and I loved for the first year being able to go into the train station and just look at the train and talk to the conductors and learn about the trains and stuff.
yeah.
But we've been doing that for 5 years now. I think I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably could do that tour.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's very exciting that's coming online
Yeah.
in 2023, even though it took forever.
You know what though?
It
It's
was done.
hopefully I mean, again, it's a ride that already exists and like the like very positive feedback from it. So we know it'll be good ride. We know it'll be
Yeah,
good.
we know it's a good ride.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be fun. It's gonna
yeah,
add a lot to that park because that park desperately
it
needs
is,
something spicy.
and
Like
they do. They need something, so because the spiciest thing they have right now is Space
Space
Mountain.
Mountain. Yeah.
And that's fine. I love Space Mountain if I want my back to hurt for the next 10
Right.
days.
It's a
You
very
know,
different I mean, and it's like
it's a different experience.
that's like vintage spicy, right? It's
It
not
is vintage spicy. It is vintage spicy. But it is good during the Halloween season to ride it in the dark.
I know. I really want someday I wanna
It's
go and
really
ride
good.
it and do that.
Yeah, really good. Um, but they needed something, right? They needed something to add spice. I mean, because it's a family park, it is really focused on family, which
Yeah.
it should be. It absolutely
Yeah, yeah,
should
yeah.
be. But there is not a teen in the world that wants to spend a day unless they are diehard Disney
Well, and that's the
because
thing
they think
is
it's boring.
it's just and even like, it's like and I always use Steve as like a frame of reference because he's such like he literally is like he's the voice of like the objective observer, right? Because he's only
Right.
had like one experience there. But when
Yeah.
we went last year, he was, we started in Hollywood Studios. Like that was our first day. And the first ride we did was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So his
Ugh,
perception, like his standard was like up here.
through
And
the
then
roof.
a couple of days later, we went to Magic Kingdom and he was expects it's like, oh, this is the flagship park, right? Like this is Disney. And like we went on a couple of these rides and he's like, these are all very boring rides. Oh my gosh. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's the
"Oh my
truth.
God."
You are very popular today.
Apparently, I don't know
It's
what's going on.
okay.
I'm like, do not disturb.
It's
But
all good.
yeah.
So I
Um,
I totally agree with you, and you know, the thing that keeps the Magic Kingdom the way that it is, though, is the nostalgia of the Magic Kingdom. The Magic
yeah,
Kingdom is built all on nostalgia. The
100%.
reason the Country Bear Jamboree is still there is because of nostalgia. No other
Oh,
reason. There's no reason
absolutely.
for the Country Bear
No,
Jamboree to still be there.
I haven't seen
Um,
Country Bear Jamboree in years because I
you
have
know,
my mom for that ride.
I went and saw it the last time I went to Country
Yeah.
Bear Jamboree, and I loved it, but I loved it because I grew up with it.
My mom hated that ride. So when I
Oh,
was growing up, I never went on it. So I
oh,
have
no,
no
you didn't.
nostalgia
Do you know why you never went on it?
because it's
Because it is
inappropriate.
so adult. It
Oh,
is
it's
so
raunchy.
inappropriate.
It's raunchy. Absolutely it
It
is.
is.
Like,
It
it's
is
and it's
so
hilarious,
inappropriate.
but, like, still, it's like, okay, there's, like, raunch and, like, that's one side of it, right? That's funny, but then at the end of the day, you're still seeing a show with animatronic bears.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. It's brilliant
right.
in its double entendre, and
Oh,
I mean,
it's
we'll just leave it at that,
it's
but
hilarious. I mean, I've
it
seen
is a
it.
riot.
I remember seeing it for the first time, I think I was in high school when I saw it, and I
Yeah.
was like, "This is probably why my mom didn't take me on this because she, 1,
Mm.
didn't like the country vibe. That's just never been,
Yeah.
my family's vibe, but also, like, this is pretty dirty. I'm
It's
surprised.
pretty adult. It
Yeah,
is pretty dirty. So
yeah.
if you haven't seen it yet and you go to see it, put those glasses
Be
on.
prepared for that.
Like,
Yeah, it's
don't put, "Oh, it's an innocent bear show" glasses on, because it is
no,
not.
no, 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 no. Nope. I
It is
really
not.
should go. I really should go this next time that I go because it's been a long time since I've been on it. So I think
Yeah, it is so
I
funny.
should do it.
Oh my god, there is a song in that, and we're not gonna discuss it here, but oh
Is it
my god.
is it the every guy that turns me yeah.
Yes! Every guy that turns me
Turns me
on.
on, turns me down.
Yeah, turns me down. Oh my god.
It's
I
so
am like and when I was a kid, I didn't understand that. I didn't get
no, 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 no.
it was just a dating thing. It was like, "Oh, ha ha ha."
Yep,
It's a little more than dating, ladies and gentlemen. And
yep.
when you see the bear swinging on the swing singing it, you're like,
Huh,
"Okay."
interesting.
See, that's a Disney that doesn't exist anymore though, right?
No, it's
You'll
not.
never see that again, which
Mm.
is really too bad because,
Yeah,
that's great stuff.
yeah. People are just
That is great stuff.
too conscious of, of the
Yep,
impact it's going to have and like it's and you know what? It's like it's good and bad, right? Because
yeah,
you've got that, and
yeah,
then you have people actually like taking into account like actually vetting things before they're released to the public, but also
right.
like kind of miss the
Yeah, there's too many hands in the there's too many chefs in the kitchen.
yeah.
Everything feels very, this has gone through 25 people before going
Oh, and
through.
it has. It
Yeah,
certainly has, but,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
that's what it is.
it's true. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The last piece I'm gonna end with, and you didn't even know I was gonna bring this up, is if you want to ride Splash Mountain, you gotta go because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
getting ready to shut it down to make it
Oh,
Tiana's
yeah, she's going.
ride. She's going in,
She's
and
going.
I'm glad that she's going in. I'm not happy about the story that they're doing, but I hope they get it right
Yeah.
because the story was going to be that Lewis, who is the alligator that plays the trumpet, a
Mhm,
character that I love,
mhm.
was had to do a gig in New Orleans, but he lost his trumpet. So you were
That's
going to
what I
go
thought it
through
was.
and
Did they
help
change
him.
it?
Yeah, they changed it now.
I didn't
So
realize that.
now it's that Tiana wants to make her special dish, but she's missing some
The
ingredients,
ingredient you know
some
what?
special ingredients, and
I
so now
heard
you have
about
to help
that.
her with that, and that's fine. That'll be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's because that's how Disney is, right? It's right. Oh, we're gonna make this thing. Oh, but something goes wrong, right?
Mhm.
That's their MO. And that's
Yeah.
fine. I just hope. I just it just doesn't sound as fun as following Lewis
Yeah, we'll see.
throughout the
We'll
ride.
see. Because 'Cause aren't they opening the restaurant too? Like, they're doing, like, a Tiana's Palace and at some point, so they're probably connecting
They're
it to
talking
that.
about that. Yeah, they are talking about that. Yeah, and they need to. I think in New Orleans Square they actually are.
No, it's
Um,
already there. Yeah, it's
yeah,
already in
yeah,
opened in New Orleans Square, but I
yeah.
thought they were
So
gonna bring it to
they've
New
there
Orleans.
has been rumor of it, right? I don't think there's anything official about it yet, but there
Okay.
has been rumor about it. And I would say that we heard about it at D23, but we didn't hear anything at D23.
No.
Um, you
That
know, we saw that
same,
Baby
like
Yoda is gonna yeah, we saw that Baby Yoda's coming, but it was like and now for the Blue Sky stuff that we're working on.
mhm.
What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that these are all the ideas that they're throwing up against the wall to see what sticks.
And, yeah, we'll see what gets traction and what
Yeah.
gets funding, and we'll take it
The
from there.
that right. So the great thing about Blue Sky is that anything goes,
Yeah,
right? I mean, there is no limit to Blue Sky,
right.
and that's awesome.
Yeah,
But and they talked about some things that I would love to see. Oh
yeah.
my god, a villain's land or even a villain's park.
Oh, I would
Oh,
oh, that would be so cool.
oh, please.
I'd love that.
And Disney fans all over have been saying that for
For
years, and we've been
years, and they
wishing.
gotta do something. They really
Yeah, we
do,
were
'cause
wishing for another park that
yeah.
was just a villain's park. Can you imagine how
Well,
fun
like,
that would
you
be?
think they'll do, like, another gate or, like,
Oh,
another, like
yeah.
'cause that
Oh,
would be
yeah.
they've gotta do
Yeah.
something to get them up to, like, level with Epic Universe. Because once that comes like, it's
They're in
gonna be
trouble.
they're in trouble. They're gonna be hard pressed to justify the pricing hikes and it's gonna be they gotta come up
Right.
with something.
That's right.
Yeah,
That is a very true statement.
yeah.
And if you don't know what we mean by another gate, I said another park, she said another gate.
Mm,
It's the same thing.
yeah.
People in the community, there were air quotes. If you're listening to the podcast, you didn't get the air quotes, maybe you heard it. Um, always call them gates
Yeah.
because in the
Well,
industry, that's what they call them.
sure, and it's kind of hard to differentiate between because there are, like, parks within parks, right? So it's
Right.
like in Animal Kingdom, you have Pandora World of Avatar, which like you could say like, oh, that's another park, right? Because it's like, but it's
Totally.
like within the
Totally.
park. So
Yeah.
saying it's no
Yeah,
different.
it's very true. Yeah, or, Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Let's be real, that's a whole park unto itself.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, so I get that, but so who knows what's gonna happen, and poor Josh D'Amaro had to do a tap dance up on that D23 stage to try to make everybody excited for nothing.
Woo!
Yeah,
This
look
might
look what
happen.
look what we're thinking about. Look what I asked my artist to draw a pretty picture of.
Yay.
Yeah, so, we'll see what happens, but, um, I just wanted to throw that out if you're a Splash Mountain fan. I love Splash Mountain, it's one of my
Mhm.
favorite rides.
Same.
There's a lot of nostalgia in that because I actually got to see Song of the South, and I loved those characters.
Mhm. You still
Um,
can on YouTube.
you still can on YouTube.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
I'm just be ready.
Just be ready for
Um,
the racism.
it's a little hard. It's a little hard.
Yeah.
Um, Still a good movie musically and animation wise. It's just
It's just
it
so
was done.
good.
It is a movie from its time.
Yep. 100%.
In its time, but even in its time, there were major protests about this.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
It's so blatant that it's not even like that, like covering it up with that, that like disclaimer at the beginning of the
yeah,
movie wouldn't
yeah.
even touch it. Like it,
I mean, the way that they sugarcoated that topic and what happened and, "Oh, but he's the hero."
yeah.
You
It's
make it look like he's okay, we don't need to talk about
yeah,
this.
we could talk about that for forever. Yeah, I could go on
That's
about
a whole
that
nother episode. We
100.
need to have, like we need to have, like, a different podcast that is Jim and Mandy bitching about things at Disney. That would be, definitely interesting. But that's what if I start a Patreon thing, that's what you're gonna get.
Perfect.
So, yeah,
That's it.
that's it. So, I know this has been a long podcast. It seems like it's been a long podcast about nothing,
No.
or video if you're watching the video on YouTube. But we are really excited to say that we're back. We
Yes.
would love to get your ideas and suggestions for things that you'd love for us to talk about.
Yes.
So please feel free to leave a comment, no matter where you're listening, um, and let us know
Yeah.
what you want to learn about, what you want us to talk about.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't know Galaxy's Edge and you're like, what can I do at Galaxy's Edge and how do I get
Mhm.
around? And we're going to talk about that, but let us know and we'll move it up the list.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Um, yeah, so we're happy to do all of that. We want it to be helpful and insightful and knowledgeable and fun. And so please, please, please let us know. If you are on YouTube, make sure that you hit that like button and that you hit that
Mhm.
subscribe button. I no longer am going to say smash because a 54-year-old man should not be saying smash. Smash that like button. Yeah, just
Mhm.
click the
Good.
like button, hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when a new episode comes out.
Mhm.
If you are listening to this on podcast, make sure you go in and give us a rating, a 5-star
Mhm.
rating, and a review. It really helps this podcast to help spread the word about what we're going to
Mhm.
try to do here. And we're very excited about it.
Can't
Uh,
wait.
yeah, and
Mhm.
it's nice to be back talking about
Mhm.
it. It's nice to be sharing this love that we have. As you can tell, I mean, it's not like I don't like it. I mean, that's and you can't see the other shelves. That could be a whole episode unto itself. This office. Um, so we're really excited about it. If you want to reach out, please feel free. You can go to thegoofyguy.com and reach me there. If you want to just get to the podcast, go to goofyguy.com, click that podcast link. It'll take you right straight to the podcasts.
Mhm.
You can email me, Jim at thegoofyguy.com. You can find me on Instagram as the Goofy Guy blog on Instagram. Honestly, if you Google the Goofy Guy,
Mhm.
I come up, which
Mhm.
is really nice because I can
Makes
just
it
say,
easy.
just Google the Goofy Guy, and you can find me on whatever platform you want to find me. And also know that I am probably going to have blog posts that match what we're talking about every other week, so that the blog is staying up, so you can get the information however you like, either in written form, in podcast form, or in video form. So know that that is happening and that we're excited to be here. So, Mandy, You just finished a show, which I was
Did.
fortunate enough to see. I always love watching you on stage. You're brilliant. But how can people get a hold of you? And just know that as this goes, we'll probably get some goofy guy things for you to have too. So
Perfect.
just
Awesome. Yeah, you can just for right now, just Instagram. It's Mandi, Mandeye 17. Yeah, just reach out through Instagram. That's the best way.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice, nice. So thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We hope you've had a good time and laughed with us. If not, I'm sorry. You know,
You probably turned it off by now, if not.
you
So
probably are not listening to this. Exactly. You're probably not listening. That's exactly right. If you got this far, thank you
yeah.
for getting this far. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to talking to you again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So say goodbye, Mandy.
Goodbye, Mandy.
Talk to y'all later. Yay!
Yay, we did it. Woo!